What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do some rank 9 battles, and you can see from our first battle there on the screen, we run into a legend, possibly my favorite Pokemon Go content creator, one of the most creative minds in all of Pokemon Go, Peng, the inventor of the Double Grass team in Great League. Caleb is an absolute legend and very intelligent trainer, and honestly, when we got matched up here, I wasn't expecting anything good to happen. I was expecting to get destroyed, but let's see what happens. I lead with Kyogre, and he's leading with Giratina altered form here. And I was debating switching in, but I can only really switch into Giratina Origin, and I don't really want to give up that lead or my only counters, so I'm like screwed. I'm just gonna stay with Kyogre. And he actually shielded the first surf, and I don't think he shielded because he thought it was a blizzard or anything. Obviously, I have a couple of theories as to why he may have shielded there. And obviously, it's very hard to get into Caleb's thought process because he's so above everyone else. But either when I didn't switch out of the Kyogre, he must have thought that I didn't have a counter for Giratina, so he thought I can't like beat it, and maybe he's just gonna protect it. Or he may have also maybe he has a lot in the back that's weak to Kyogre, and he just wants to get rid of it now. He might have like two Pokemon that are very weak to Kyogre. And maybe thirdly, he just knows I'm a subscriber and he wanted to go easy on me, give me a chance at winning or something. But we burned both shields there, which I wasn't expecting. And I'm going to bring in the Giratina Origin now. And we have two shields still. So I'm going to waste the shield here on the first Dragon Claw. And he has a lot of energy stored on this Giratina. But this is a good position for Giratina Origin. And at this point, I'm just going to go for the Ominous Wind. I thought this would KO, but it actually isn't enough. And he manages to get off one more charge and was a result of that. So that was probably the wrong decision on my part to go for the Ominous Wind there. So I have to burn both shields. So now we're not in a really good position anymore. And he brings in Dialga. And I have energy, so I'm just going to go for Shadow Ball here before I switch into Rhyperior. And I ring in the Rhyperior here, and it looks like he blind switched into Heatran. Because, yeah, I don't think he was looking to put his Heatran into this matchup. That was definitely a blind switch on his part, and I just got really fortunate that it happened to be weak to Rhyperior. So I got extremely lucky there, and now we're in a really good position against this Dialga. I have enough for the superpowers. There's no shields. Shields are down. And, yeah, at this point, I still wasn't convinced I was going to win, but we actually ended up taking that match, and I was shocked. And huge shout out to Caleb. Love his content. Probably my favorite trainer in Pokemon Go, and it was really an honor to get the chance to play him. So next matchup here is against Techman26, and he's going to lead the Metagross, which is very good for us. Switches into Mew. Mew is very interesting always because you don't know what moves it's running. Most people are running Shadow Claw as the quick move. And fortunately, I didn't shield this. Took a gamble there. It was a Wild Charge, which is going to be resisted by Giratina. So I'm not sure if that was intended for the Kyogre, but I get the boost here. And at this point, you know we're shielding. Because I don't care, even if it's a Wild Charge, you got to protect this Giratina. And he brings in Snorlax. So that kind of puts a quick end to my party. But I was kind of in a dilemma here because obviously my switch clock is up. But I was thinking, I don't really want to exit because I have the boost. Like, I know Rhyperior coming, but like, I'm doing decent damage with the Shadow Balls here because of the boost. So it's not the worst situation. And if this is a Body Slam, I will survive. So like, look at that. So I'm like, screw it. Let's just stand with Giratina and see what happens. The boost is really unfair. Even after this nerf, hasn't done much. So now I brought the Snorlax down a lot. Gonna bring back in my Kyogre. And opponent's going to get off an Earthquake there. It's going to do a lot of damage to Kyogre. We're going to go for the Surf. This will KO. Chooses to shield. Switches out into Metagross. Now I'm kind of locked here, unfortunately. And just going to let that go through because I have two really good counters to Metagross in the back. So I'm going to bring out the Rhyperior. And I try to farm down. But he gets to the Meteor Mash, which we're going to have to shield for sure. And commit to the farm down. Gonna bring back in the Snorlax. Just gonna go for the superpower here. Could have went for the Rock Record to not lower him up, but he's so low anyways, doesn't really matter. And I'm gonna get to two superpowers there. Be enough to take this win. So a good game there. Definitely got fortunate with the boost on Giratina. And headed into our next matchup now. Matches do take a bit longer to find opponents now. Danilo 8708. So sticking with our Kyogre lead, and this is very favorable for us against the Garchomp. Garchomp, of course, Sand Tomb, Earthquake, or Outrage. It's kind of a guessing game as to which one he's going to do. Here I assume it's going to be a Sand Tomb, but it is an Outrage, so well played. I'm going to go for the Surf now. It's really hard to try and guess what Garchomp is running because Sand Tomb is so popular. And this time it probably is a Sand Tomb, but I shield just in case. I want to make sure I win Switch Advantage. That definitely would not have been enough to KO. He brings in the Dialga. And thankfully, because of Sand Tomb, I got farmed down quite quickly, so I can bring in my Rhyperior. You definitely never want to get in a situation where the Dialga has an energy lead against your Rhyperior, because it could get off 2 Iron Heads after. So I decided to just go for the superpower in this case. He brings in Snorlax, so I blind switched into Giratina, and this was obviously a huge mistake. I was not expecting to have a Snorlax in the back, and I put myself in a really difficult position here. And pretty much the only way I could win here is to just fish for the boost, because I did at least reset the debuffs on my Rhyperior, but that Dialga's still gonna have energy in the back, and it probably has enough for an Iron Head. And there's really nothing I can do here. Even if I get the boost at this point out, it's just too late. I switch in, you're hoping to absorb a Body Slam. It's actually a superpower. Opponent switches out into Dialga. He gets off the charge move before I can even get it off. I try to commit to a farm, but obviously it's not going to happen, especially at the debuff. And this game is pretty much over, so GG's there. And this next matchup is against Blast Jimmy. So we got blown out in the last game, despite the favorable lead. And here we have a Kyogre mirror match. Now in this particular set I am running Thunder on my Kyogre. I did temporarily switch to Blizzard because I was running into a lot of situations where I needed Blizzard. But I've since switched back to Thunder again. It's really dependent on what you're running into, I guess. I like Thunder because of the mirror match. And it has some neutral coverage, I guess, for some other matchups too. But in general, the only problem with Blizzard is that it takes so long to get to. And it can be quite obvious that you're doing it at times because it takes so long. Especially if you shield before that, like right before you're about to faint. If you use the shield, they know you're doing it to get a Blizzard off. So he brings in Dialga to farm down the Kyogre. I'm going to bring in Rhyperior here. Hopefully this Dialga only has enough for 1 Iron Head. Switches out into Snorlax. Been a lot of Snorlax in this set actually. And we're going for Rock Wrecker here. And our opponent is going to probably go for Body Slam. Heavy Slam, wow. Heavy Slam isn't the most common move set, so wasn't expecting that. It's going to be super effective. And we go for the superpower, it is shielded. And I try to get to one more, which I can't get to. He has no shields. This probably won't KO at this point. No, it does. And we're going to get farmed down here by the Dialga. And I have only my Giratina. This isn't the best matchup, but because we have a shield, we'll be fine here. In case of the Draco meter, I have to shield. It's just an Iron Head. And just go for the ominous win here to end this match. And we're going to take that one as well. And it's the best buddy Dialga. And next matchup is against the rank 10, Search Lie 17, who is going to lead with the Melmetal. So Kyogre vs Melmetal is a very interesting matchup. More often than not, they will switch out. However, if it gets to 2 shields, it becomes a pretty tight matchup that's dependent on baiting with Rock Slide versus Superpower and which one you shield. But it's a very close match in the 2 shields. Outside of 2 shields, it goes Kyogre's favor. So I shield the Rock Slide here. And I'm going to go for the Surf. Surf won't KO, but I'll put it in the red. He chooses to shield. So at this point, I figure, you know what? He's probably going to invest everything he has into this Melmetal. And I'm not sure if I'll be able to beat him to the next charge room, so I just let it go down. And I take my shield into the next match, which is a Machamp. Not what I wanted to see here. And this is probably going to be a cross chop, very quick energy gain. And I switch out into Giratina. Brings in the Togekiss. Now fortunately, he doesn't have any shields, so this isn't going to be as bad as it could be. And we managed to get to this ominous win here. Not sure if this will KO. Oh no, in that range, yes it will. And the Champ's going to waste its energy here. Rock Slide, going to KO the Giratina. I have enough for the Rock Wrecker here. And this is going to be resisted, but it's still going to be enough. Yes, it is. Rock Wrecker is a very overpowered move. It's like a clone of Blast Burn, I believe. Very OP. And we end up going 4-1 in that set. And now we get to catch this Landorus. This is actually a 98% Landorus, my best one so far. And as per usual, you waste all your balls. This took about 5 minutes to catch. And then actually, look at what happens here. So I'm trying to catch this, and I'm like, it's 98, right? So I hit it excellent. And then my game, it freezes here. I'm like, what's going on? Did I catch it? And I wait, it pops out, and it fled. And I was freaking out, but it was thankfully it was caught. It was in my bag, as you can see there. 98%, definitely my best Landers, but I had a bit of a panic there at the moment. And we do move up in rank here. Oh, not in rank, but rating rather. Moving up in the 2800s. Problems IRL is next up. And we are going to lead with the Kyogre against the Togekiss. This is an interesting matchup. I believe the Togekiss could win this match in the 2-shield scenario, but I think it will be down a shield. I believe the Togekiss will win if it uses both shields, but I'll still have one shield when I bring out the next Pokemon. So I shield this Ancient Power, switches out into Snorlax. I'm gonna bring in the Rhyperior here. I've been misclicking a lot lately into these matches, bringing in Giratinas against Snorlaxes, Rhyperiors against Giratinas instead of Dialga and stuff. And yeah, it's been pretty bad. But, I think that's just a little bit of frustration on my part. Sometimes playing so many games, I get tired and don't know what I'm doing. But here, very favorable situation with the Snorlax. Shields are down. And the Togekiss can't really come back in here, so he's going to bring in his own Rhyperior, which is very risky. But he does manage to win. We're going to bring in the Kyogre and go for the Surf. I have Surf ready. And this should KO. Rhyperior is super weak to water. It is enough. And I try switching into my Giratina, and our opponent backs out of the matchup there. And the last matchup here is against Mad Medievalist. This second set, I believe we went 3-2 or 4-1. I don't have all the games here, but they lead Conkeldurr, which is quite spicy. You don't see that too often. And I'm going to go for the Surf here. They choose to shield. It's probably going to be a Dynamic Punch. Stone Edge, I believe. Yes, Conkeldurr runs Dynamic Punch and Stone Edge. So it is a Dynamic Punch. I choose to shield there. And I go for the Surf. And if she does choose to shield here, I'm going to match that shield and just commit to the farm down after. So I will shield. And she's definitely in farm down range. So I'm going to farm down. And I think we have almost enough for a Surf here. Brings in the Dialga. I get the Surf off. It's going to be resisted, but it's still a decent amount of chip damage, which is going to be helpful because I'm going to bring in that Rhyperior, which is not the best situation. And this Iron Head is not going to KO, but it's going to be extremely close. And I get to the Superpower. I'm just going to go for the Superpower here and hope that I have a favorable matchup in the back for the Giratina. It's a Melmetal, so this is a very favorable matchup for Giratina. And we could just go for Shadow Ball here. And then the Melmetal's going to have to get off about close to 4 Rock Slides. The Thunder Shock's going to be resisted, so they're going to have to get to about 4 Rock Slides to win this matchup. So we can just go for the Ominous Wind, and that will end the matchup here. We will survive this Rock Slide, just barely in the red. But we will beat our opponent. CMP tie actually, and we're going to get to the Ominous Wind. That's going to be a good game there. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be uploading daily content every day. And as you see there in the background, I changed the daytime. I was going to sleep right after this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.